Wednesday, June 27th, 8 p.m. Mountain Time, 2018. Guys, in this video, we're going to talk about how close we are to all of the planets sharing one side of the sun. 180 degrees of 360, we're going to have every single planet crammed on one side of the sun. 22 days away from that unique planetary arrangement. It's only happened 6 times in the last 120 years. 5 of those 6 times, the Earth saw very large volcano eruptions and a lot of volcanic activity, and that's something we're watching very closely here at the website, MrMBB333.com. Yellowstone's a new tab that I've added to the website. We're monitoring the seismos at Yellowstone Supervolcano. I've also added this new tab here. It's called Global Volcanism. You can click on it. It's a nice clean website that gives you up-to-the-date new active volcanoes. And today we saw an eruption out of the Fernandina, actually the Sierra Negra off the coast of Ecuador. But there's also one off the coast of Central America I want to talk about that I'm not seeing, and maybe it's just because it's not big enough to be considered an eruption. But nevertheless, it's still what looks like to me volcanic activity stretching from Kilauea in Hawaii. Now we're over here off the coast of Ecuador, and there's something offshore of Central America, not to get that confused with what occurred in Guatemala. Fuego was a huge eruption, and that volcano erupted 2 times during history, during these unique planetary arrangements. Twice Guatemala erupted. So it's erupting again this time in 2018. So I think we're just getting started. It does look like to me that the Earth is responding to this unique planetary arrangement. Here's a look at the Schumann from yesterday. That's the biggest spike I've ever seen on the Schumann resonance. Here it is today, same spike. Actually, it's a different spike, different day, a little smaller, but it has similarities. This one here from yesterday was just absolutely mammoth. I've never seen one that big on the Schumann resonance, ever. We're looking at global volcanism, and we do have some to report. The Sierra Negra volcano at the Galapagos off the coast of Ecuador. You can see this is erupting. They're saying this is the worst eruption in 200 years. Let me take you to the location of this hot spot right here. And then there's one up here I want to talk about that shows up on the SO2 graph that's showing SO2 emissions like you would see off of Kilauea. So it tells me that there's an active volcano on that little island. But this is the active volcano right now, and there have been evacuations as a result of this lava flow coming from this volcano. So more and more volcanoes erupting as we move forward into this unique planetary arrangement. And guys, I went back in history. This has only happened 6 times in the last 120 years. Volcanic activity was a very strong common denominator.
Now, did you hear that? 6 times in the past 120 years. Now, isn't that ironic? Now, if you're a flat earther, you don't believe that all the planets are on one side of the sun. So you would believe that all the wandering stars are on one side of the sun in our celestial firmament. You see what I'm saying? So by saying that, okay, 6 times in 120 years, so 6 times and then 120 years, or 12, 6, 6. So just want to throw that out there for any of the space numerology and space bullshit. You know, like I said, I don't believe everything Mr. MBB333 covers, but he's covering the volcano stuff very well, and he's able to show you all this stuff, like locations, and I wanted to make a couple comments on this stuff.
During these unique planetary arrangements, and like I said, they only occurred 6 times over 120 years. 1998, 1982, 1953, 1944 and 42, and 1917. This little island here, it's showing up on the SO2 map as a SO2 plume coming off of this island. It's not much here. It does look like there is a volcano right there in the center of the right around the center. Yeah, you can tell there's been volcanic activity here before. It does look like there's something going on again. And let me show you what I'm talking about. That's at thewatchers.news. Let's go back to the website. Also at the website, you can click on this SO2, CO2 data. Takes you to, I got it configured to take you right to Hawaii because that's the hot spot right now. That plume you see is of SO2. If you look over here off of the coast of Central America, this little island is showing a SO2 plume. That's usually telling us that there's volcanic activity. So that would be one that's not listed yet. I don't know if it's just because it's too small, but that's definitely an SO2 plume. That circulation you see right there is a hurricane. I think it's Daniel. There's been many hurricanes form off the coast of Central America due to a, what I call, a sea surface temperature water anomaly right here. For some reason, the Atlantic got real cool all of a sudden, and it seems like all of that heat went over here onto the East Pacific, and it's formed 4 hurricanes already this season. They're no threat to landfall, but this one here is yet another one, and I think there's more to follow this one. But for some reason, right in this area, the sea surface temperatures in the upper 80s, I think in some cases maybe 90 degrees. The water is just exceptionally warm, and those exceptionally warm waters are producing hurricanes.
4 named hurricanes right there. So, yeah.
You know, they were talking about climate change yesterday, and now we're learning that scientists and researchers are looking at how to change the weather on purpose. That's right. Lasers now could one day manipulate rain and lightning. CBS This Morning contributor Michio Kaku is a physics professor at City College of New York. Professor, nice to see you. Extraordinary seeing Al Gore and Bill Clinton there together with Charlie, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, they did not get into this discussion,
No.
though. But it is fascinating. I mean, lasers, really? To change the weather?
That's right. Well, as Mark Twain once famously said, everyone complains about the weather, but no one ever does anything about it. Well, instead of doing a rain dance, we physicists are firing trillion-watt lasers. Doing a rain dance, we physicists are firing trillion-watt lasers. Doing a rain dance, we physicists are firing trillion-watt lasers into the sky to actually precipitate rain clouds and actually bring down lightning bolts. This is potentially a game changer.
But this is experimental.
It's experimental. However, in the laboratory so far it works. When you have water vapor and you have dust particles or ice crystals, you can precipitate rain. It condenses around the seeds. These seeds can also be created by laser beams. By firing trillion-watt lasers, you rip apart the electrons, creating what are called ions, and these ions act like seeds, like dust particles, bringing down rain and even lightning. Go ahead.
Well, this fascinates me in part because, too, I remember reading the stories that China had used this during the Olympics, that the USSR had used this after Chernobyl to create rain clouds. I mean, did those really work then? We have some of these capabilities now?
Inconclusive. Even in the 60s, the CIA used this to bring down monsoons during the Vietnam. Conclusive. Even in the 60s, the CIA used this to bring down monsoons during the Vietnam War. The CIA used this to bring down monsoons during the Vietnam War to wash out the Viet Cong. Governments have been playing with this thing.
Alleged to.
Alleged to, right.
Yeah.
Now, we realize that for decades now, these governments have been alleged to have it with weather control, but nothing conclusive. This time we're bringing in the laws of physics rather than simply waving our hands and uttering mumbo-jumbo. We're actually using trillion-watt lasers now. And in the laboratory, sure enough, they precipitate rain out of water vapor. Sure enough, you can actually bring down electricity down the beam.
So what does it mean for drought areas that need to have rain for crops, and if they don't have them, there's the consequences of famine?
Well, the bad news is if it's a clear blue sky, it's not going to do anything at all because it only takes water vapor that's already in the air and condenses it. However, for floods, for agriculture, farmers, for people planning wedding parties, football games, you name it, outdoor events and agriculture and flooding and even hurricanes, all of them could be subject to weather modification.
Friday, July 13th, 4 a.m. Mountain Time, 2018. Guys, in this video, we're going to take a look at some volcanic activity. Seismograph down in Indonesia that's gone absolutely off the charts, pretty much literally. Go to the website, check out the new global volcanism. It's been updated by the Smithsonian, and we've got a new member. Mount Michael is showing signs of erupting, and some others too that I'll talk about here in just a minute. But first I want to show you this seismograph and what's going on down here in Indonesia. There's also been two more from Indonesia that have been recently added to the list. In the past, we've only been in this unique planetary arrangement 6 times in the past 120 years. This makes number 7. Of those 6 times, 5 of them showed very heightened volcanic activity on planet Earth. We're seeing the same thing now as we're 6 days away from this unique planetary arrangement. We're just waiting on Venus, like I said earlier. Right now in Indonesia, a seismograph that's happened yesterday from this volcanic activity that's occurring at Krakatau is increasing exponentially. People are being able to see this now from like 25 miles away. Lava is starting to surface, I guess, near the crater. And this seismograph here, they're saying, was kind of going off the charts for a while. There have been many explosions, alarms going off here at the seismo, acting very strangely. Look at that.
Now that is absolutely outrageous, people. Look at those seismos. Like, that is insane. I have never seen pages that full like that. Never. I mean, that's old school, you know, but like everything now is digital. But the point I'm making is that's insane. That's Indonesia, like he said. This is Mr. MBB 333. Like I said, you know, I might not agree with everything, but he does great videos. He has very high quality videos, and he kills it. And as you can tell, he goes very deep. He gets a lot of info. So I'm going to use a couple of his clips. Hopefully he'll be all right. Obviously, I'm giving you guys a heads up to go check his channel out, so I'm sure he should be cool with it. A link will also be in the description, so go check his channel out. It is awesome. He's been doing a lot of UV measurements, UV A, B, and C, and it's not just him. He has multiple people that, you know, do it every so often and check it every day. So it's him and however many other people that do it, and they all check the same days. They record the weather conditions, you know, what the sky looks like, and then the amount of UV A, the amount of UVB, and the amount of UVC. And see, that's another thing I wanted to cover, because right now it's through the roof, the UVs. Now guys, I know my channel's being hit hard, there's no doubt about it, so I'm not sure if you guys have seen the video, but I have a video where I even discuss how they have come out now and officially stated that somebody is reproducing CFC-11 in southeastern Asia, and it's causing the ozone to get a massive hole. And then remember, it was the same video where I was talking about the ozone healing aerosol spray that they talked about having, and I was like, you know, that's crazy, because back in the day the ozone was destroyed by aerosols, and now they want to spray one even closer to it from planes, you know. So yeah, but anyways, the point that I'm making, let's check this channel out.
Yeah. And this is July 12th, 7 days away from the unique planetary arrangement. And I think we're going to see more of this.
And also, with that planetary arrangement, I want to say something. He said 120 years, so 12, right? 6 and 6. It's happened 6 times in the past 120 years. So, 6 times in the past 120 years, 12, 6 and 6. So 6 times 6 and 6 equals 12, or 120. So 666 right there. And we're about to go into the 7th alignment like this. As you guys know, I don't believe that it is the solar system like they say. I think it's a lot different than that. Do I think it's exactly like the flat earthers? Hell no, I do not. The flat earthers are the most clusterfuck, scatterbrained people like ever. It seems like in the whole scene is like disinfo. It seems like, so it's better just to stay away from it and try to do your own shit for that, and then kind of keep it quiet. Don't preach it until you have absolute facts that you can show. You know what I mean? So, anyways, though, the point is, I don't believe in the planetary alignment the way he's talking about it, but it's something, and we can clearly see it in the sky. You know, we should be able to, anyways. So, 5 times out of the six, though, there was very high volcanic activity. And look at what we're going into. Look at the Pacific Ring of Fire. Look at Hawaii. Hawaii has literally been erupting for almost 2 months straight. Okay, the death toll in Japan at the floods is over 200. Mudslides occurring daily. We have earthquakes occurring daily. We have seismographs off the chart, as you can tell right there. I mean, guys, this is insane. We are getting constant flooding here in the U.S. right now, in the continental U.S., and then Hawaii is still getting bombarded. And you can't forget the West Coast is being lit up by directed energy weapons. I mean, we are under attack completely, people. Only the houses are burning out west, you know, and hopefully, guys, so I'm hopefully getting out west here very soon. I can talk about that later, but yeah. I just wanted to make sure I mentioned all that stuff, which I will cover later today also.
Very, very unusual. You can watch the remainder of the video. In fact, I don't know if this is a recent image. It says
that's Mount Michael. That's the one that just, you know, is showing signs of eruption. One of the new ones. There's a couple in Bali. There's one in Bali, and then 2 more in Indonesia. And I mean, the list is quite outrageous. Okay, so this is down in the Sandwich Islands. This is down off the like southwestern point of South America.
2018, but you can see the time of this image. Smoke coming out of, steam coming out of the top of the volcano. This is Mount Michael right here. So most of you probably didn't even know this existed. But this is down in the South Sandwich Islands, and it's just yet another volcano.
I really love looking through my maps and like checking out these islands. I used to do it all the time, and then I'd look the islands up on my phone and then like learn about them. Sandwich Islands is one of them. There's a lot of penguins down there. There's a lot of birds that migrate through this area, and there's a lot of old whaling islands down there off that southern point of South America, the little hook down there, which is actually some of the craziest. Is it South Africa? I think it's South Africa, actually. That has the craziest waters down there. But I think South America's pretty bad, too. But it's crazy waters, and it's crazy, crazy down there in the southern hemisphere, flat, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? But, so, you know, it's very hectic. And down there, these islands are very strange islands. Like I said, there's a big whaling island down there. And if you pay for that tour of Antarctica, from what I understand, and I've heard, I can't verify this, but from what I've heard, they take you to this island called Deception Island. So you're going on a tour of Antarctica. You're obviously with a bunch of government pieces of shit. And then you paid for it, and they take you to a place called Deception Island. Yeah, funny.
Oh, to add to the list of the already erupting volcanoes, the Kilauea volcano, this is Fissure 8, has been erupting heavily for over 2 months, and it's not showing any signs of letting up. So it'll be interesting to see how it reacts as we move forward into this unique planetary arrangement. Like I said, we're 6 days away. We're waiting on Venus. So just a quick update, guys. You can see the rest of the reports here at the website. It's put out by the Smithsonian Institution. It's a very detailed, thorough look at all of the erupting volcanoes.
So here we go. This is what we're looking at. Here's all the new ones. Bali, Indonesia, Ambae, Vanuatu, Indonesia, South Sandwich Islands, that's the one we just saw, and then Isabella and Ecuador. Those are all the new ones. So this website, he says it's updated weekly. That means these would be updated today. These are all the new ones from the past week that have basically started erupting. And as said before, during this planetary alignment or this wandering star alignment, whatever you want to call it, it's not really an alignment. It's just everything is going, if you cut the sun in half, everything is going to be on the right or left side of that 180 degree line through the center of the sun, is basically what he's saying. So all the planets in the solar system will be on one or the other side, and it would be like it's off balance. You know what I mean? But very strong volcanic activity picks up during these times. And the, like I said, the numerology, 6 times in the past 120 years, or 666. Kind of crazy, but
The new ones and the ones that are currently ongoing. And like I said earlier, Mount Michael is actually showing signs of erupting as I do this video. Check out the site below in the description box, guys. MrMBB333.com. Good little hub for information. Thanks for watching.
Yo, what's up? Phil James. So today is Friday, July 13th, 2018. Alright, so there's a supermoon solar eclipse today, and it takes place over where? Antarctica, partially over Australia, and partially over New Zealand. Now, by this point, you've seen all that stuff before this that Mr. MBB333 is covering about the all the volcanoes and that weird celestial alignment. So we're 6 days out, and we have this crazy supermoon solar eclipse that's taking place today on Friday the 13th, which this hasn't happened, okay, forever. So listen to this. A supermoon that brings partial solar eclipse on Friday the 13th is bad luck for most people in the world's population, not because of any superstitious belief. The celestial event over the weekend is the first time since 1974 that a supermoon has once again coincided on a Friday the 13th. The partial eclipse will also see Earth passing through Moon's penumbra, or its wide shadow cone. Yeah, that whole thing. We already know how much sense that doesn't make. Let's not even get started on it. As this happens, a tiny piece of the sun will hide behind the darkness. Thus, aside from Friday's event as a supermoon on Friday the 13th, it is also called a dark supermoon, which means that a new moon arrives when its penumbra is closest to the Earth. There won't be another supermoon event of this kind in the near future. There will, however, be a total solar eclipse 19 years after on July 13th, 2037. Because it's like every 18 years. They calculated all these back in the day. How do you think they did that? Because there is a rhythm. I might have to do a video on that. Anyways, though. Oh, and there's also been numerous eclipses where both the moon and the sun are both visible, and something still eclipses the sun or the moon. So what exactly is happening there? It's happened like 50 times in the past 1,000 years, by the way. Listen to this. There might be a total solar eclipse on Friday the 13th on June 13th, 2132. But again, no supermoon involved. So this is very rare, but look at that date. Friday the 13th, so 13 we already know, and then June 13th, and then also 2132, 213, 3 and 2, 6. Look at that. How coincidental indeed. All right, so this is very, very rare, and nobody's going to see it. That's why they're saying it's bad luck. They're saying that the penguins in Antarctica will be the ones at Peterson Bank. They'll be the ones who have a front row seat to see it. And I can imagine that a lot of scumbag elitists are down in Antarctica or New Zealand or somewhere in the southern Arctic Ocean watching this when this takes place. But it is today. So it's kind of, very numerology crazy and symbolic. And this is all taking place 6 days before that crazy alignment or the crazy celestial event that's being covered by Mr. MBB 333, and it's a supermoon, and it's Friday the 13th, and all the other numerology I already mentioned. So check this out, though. And then we have the longest lunar eclipse of the century to turn the moon red this month. So this is the 27th. So what did God say? Signs in the sun, moon, and stars. And look at this. We have all the wandering stars going to one side. Oh, and there's that date again, 21-23. How about that? What? See, that's so insane that both of these articles have that same 21-23 date. So now it's two articles, Mom, that use the same date. My mom thought I was insane. Oh man, I'm telling you guys, this is nuts. So I just wanted to show this. I'm not going to read this article because it's very long, but I wanted to show that, you know, this is a lunar eclipse, and it's said to be the longest one of the century, and it'll be on the 27th of this month. And we also have the eclipse taking place today. That's a solar eclipse, and nobody's going to see it at all because it's going to be down in the southern Arctic Ocean, like an Indian Ocean area where they meet or something, is what it said, I think. It's not the Arctic Ocean, but it's down where the Indian Ocean meets the Pacific, I think. Alright, so it's a bunch of stills, whatever. But yeah, so all that's going down in the next few days, all while that celestial event is taking place. And as I scroll through here, you can literally look and see all the heavy rain, dust storm pounds the valley, leaves damages in its wake. Japan floods, surpassed 200 with death toll. More landslides. Highway 18 in Cali, training thunderstorms. Japan's flood. Zion National Park is closed due to rockfall and flooding. We better check where Steve is at, mother, because Zion is closed and he's walking the Pacific Crest Trail. I'm not sure if it goes through there. Flash floods reported in the Grand Canyon. Wow, what is happening? Weather shift could bring early start to monsoon season. Yeah, it's already here and it's already started. All right, monsoon sending Hawaii-like humidity and possible thunderstorms to Bay Area. This is the other thing I wanted to throw in here, because they're not even mentioning the fact that this solar eclipse and this lunar eclipse both take place in, like, you know, the next 2 weeks, or next week actually. But there could be a lot more water and a lot less sand at beaches this week, NOAA says. So it's like, tides are expected to be higher in this week, but it doesn't say anything about the eclipses. So don't you think that since that's what they tell us, you know, the moon causes tides, they would mention that, hey, we have a supermoon taking place and it's a very rare eclipse? You know, don't you think they would mention that in this article? But they don't. It's not in here. So look, king tides will be happening on these dates, and that's between the 12th and the 14th. So today is between those dates exactly. So today, Peregrine Springs tides, and commonly called king tides, will be happening on these days. That's when the moon is either new or full and is closest to the earth. So supermoon, yes, they covered the supermoon part of it. Okay, I'll give them that. But they don't even mention the eclipses, which one happens today, like I said, and the other one happens the 27th. I just want to make sure that it doesn't say anything real quick. So give me 1 second. Okay, so the first hurricane to reach the southeastern United States so far this season is Hurricane Chris, which was a Cat 2, and it hit off North Carolina. Kelly, I hope you're all right. I know you're down there. Everybody, all subscribers, pray for Kelly. You guys have seen her in our in the comment section before. I haven't seen her for a minute, so keep your fingers crossed, or pray, you know, whatever one you believe in. Make sure, you know, hope she's doing all right. All right, so okay, so tidal flooding Beach erosion. North Carolina has seen some of the effects of Chris. If a storm happens during this period, flooding could get worse. Coastal areas near the... Okay. All right, so yeah, it says absolutely nothing in this article. Nothing at all about any eclipses, anything about the eclipse. It only partially mentions that it's when the moon is at its closest point to the Earth, but it didn't even say that it was a supermoon, so most people probably didn't even catch that. You know, I knew that that's what that meant, so, you know, we see a, 13-14% difference in the size or whatever, you know, but a lot of people probably not even picking that part up if they read this.